If you know you're on a spiritual path and you've been wondering what's been going on recently and what's to come, I've got a brief energy update for you, plus some messages from my guides about how to best navigate through these times. Aloha, I'm David. As usual, I'm coming to you from my home in the Hawaiian Islands, the ancient mountaintops of Lemuria. So, how have you been feeling? How have you been doing so far this year? Has it been easy sailing, or have you been feeling like there's always something? A lot of us have been going through weird things on a regular basis. Maybe you felt the same way, that you just sometimes just feeling uncomfortable being in a human, being in a physical body, or strange memories coming up from a long time ago. Maybe you've had some strong emotions coming up and you're wondering, where the heck did that come from? In fact, these occurrences have become so frequent that my wife and I just joke around that there's always something. And, there's solar activity, an eclipse, earthquakes, waves of emotion going through humanity, waves of fear. I mean, there's wars going on and a lot of unpleasantness. So we're affected by a lot of energies that are flowing through human consciousness, flowing through the earth plane, and it's a little uncomfortable. And there's a big reason that it's uncomfortable for those of us who are on a spiritual path, and that's because we're in uncharted territory. What we're going through individually and collectively in our own evolution, it's never been done before. No one has ever been exactly where we are. So there is no manual. There is no precise roadmap for where we're headed. This is new. And so when you're out there on the edge, as we are, it gets uncomfortable because we're trailblazers. We're moving into an area that has never been explored in this way before. I remember I had a conversation with one of my mentors many years ago, and we were talking about the evolution of human consciousness and our individual journeys through it. And at the time, we were calling this experience of human ascension or moving to a new octave, a new plane of consciousness, we were calling it the shift for short. And my mentor said, the shift has already happened. We just have some vague memory of it. And as soon as he said that, it really resonated in me. And I knew it was true. In that moment, I knew it was true. And I felt a kind of a sense of relief in a way, because we're here experiencing the journey in human third dimensional bodies. That's why we came here. And that ultimate destination is assured. We are going to get to that destination, but here we are doing the journey, but no one's ever done it just like we have before. So we're out there on the edge. And my mentor said, the feeling is like you're out there at the front and there are no guardrails, and there's definitely not a clear path before you. And that's the feeling. So in a way, we have to get used to that feeling. We have to get comfortable with not having all the answers, without seeing the entire path before us, and just get comfortable being in the moment, doing this a step at a time. If you've ever used Google Maps or a navigation app, you put in your point of origin, where you're starting from, and your desired destination, and the app will show you the most efficient route to get from A to B in that moment. Now, if you were to do the same kind of search or request at a different time of day or a different day of the week, there might be a different journey ahead of you. But the destination is there, but the journey is ever changing. The difference between using a navigation app and doing this journey of human evolution is that path is not clearly defined from A to B. You and I are making this up day by day, literally day by day. And every day that you wake up, you have a new starting point, a new point of origin. And part of what my guides wanted to convey to me and to you is that it's okay. We can't mess this up. The destination is there. That that destination of reaching that new reality for us individually and collectively as human consciousness, our success is assured. However, how we get there is entirely up to us. We're making it up as we go along. So the good news is we're always headed in the right direction, even if it doesn't seem that way. But to make it more comfortable, we just have to accept the fact that there are going to be unknowns all the time, that we're not going to fully understand our journey. At the end of last year, my guides said that, well, this was in the last couple of months of the year, my guides said 2024 is going to be huge, unprecedented. And so far, I still feel that way, that this year is going to be huge. And there are two major energetic themes that are at play this year from a Lemurian point of view. The first one is about this idea of living in two worlds simultaneously. We have this human physical journey in this physical body, but then that eternal non-physical part of who we are, our higher self, inner being, inner goddess, whatever you choose to call it, that's who we truly are. And that's our eternal self. And so both the human you and the non-physical you are experiencing this journey day by day. And this is the year that one of the big themes is to consciously interact with spirit. In fact, I'm going to read you a quote here. This is what my guides shared with me back in October of last year as we were getting ready for Lemurian New Year. I know some of you celebrated Lemurian New Year with me back in November, 11/11. And at the time, my guide said, throughout the entire journey of humanity, there has never been a more important time than now for you to evolve your relationship with spirit. Now, my guides are usually pretty gentle and soft, so I was kind of surprised that they were so straightforward and strong in their language. Throughout the entire journey of humanity, there has never been a more important time than now for you to evolve your relationship with spirit. And they were primarily referring to that relationship between your human self and your non-physical self, your eternal self, but also your relationship with spirit guides, spirit councils, ascended masters, goddesses, whoever you choose to interact with. But the only way that we're going to get from A to B, from where we are each morning when we wake up on our way to a new reality, a new earth, a higher octave, a new dimension, the only way we're going to do that is by consciously working with the non-physical. That's the only way. And that's why you're here. That's why you chose to be here. You wanted to experience what it was like to go through a fundamental shift in human consciousness while being in physical form. So there is no roadmap. We're blazing a trail, each of us individually, day by day, but it's all going to come down to your relationship with the non-physical world. And that's the only way we can do it, because that new earth, that new reality exists. That new you, that person that you really, really want to be, deep in your heart, that person you really want to be, already exists in the non-physical realm, in a higher dimension. And so you're simply doing the journey from where you are now toward that new reality. And walking between the worlds, simultaneously living in a physical body, but also being aware of that non-physical part of who you are, that's a big theme for this year, and for good reason, because that's how we get to our goals, to our intended destinations, individually and collectively. The second big energetic theme woven through this entire year is about expansion. Big, beautiful expansion. This is a time of limitless possibilities and really embracing those things that maybe in the past you thought, I would love that to happen. I would love to create that, but I really don't see how. You were hesitant, that maybe feeling a little bit limited. Well, this year, all of that energy is falling to the wayside, and you have a huge opportunity to embrace this new reality, embrace this new version of you that you know deep inside that you really would like to become, to experience. And when my guides were offering guidance about this expansive energy, this big energy for this year, their language again was quite strong. They said, be bold, do not hesitate. They said, you no longer have the luxury of being wishy-washy or thinking of all the reasons why you can't do something or why you can't become the person you really want to be. That's the old way of thinking, and that's the old way of being, and it's time to change. So they said, do not hesitate, be bold. Think about who you want to be. Think about what you want to create or accomplish or experience in this life. Get a clear idea of what you want and then make the decision to go for it with all your heart. It seems pretty straightforward, but I know I needed to hear those words because I often get caught up in old patterns of thought, of limited thinking or thinking of the reasons why something can't happen. But as we move further and further into this year, it's becoming clear that we can't hang on to those old ways of thinking and being. And just being aware of the process makes it easier, because when you catch yourself thinking in an old way, you say, okay, maybe that worked 5 years ago, but that way of approaching this situation is not going to work anymore. So you really have to start trusting how you feel. That person you want to be, that ideal version of you, already exists, and you're moving toward that ideal version of you. And the way to get there is to kind of feel your way into it. And that means being aware of how you're thinking, being aware of the choices you're making, being aware of the habits that you're perpetuating. How you start your day first thing in the morning pretty much determines, in general, the energy of how that day's going to turn out. So maybe it's time to start creating new habits that are more in alignment with that ideal version of you. But the key is to feel your way into it day by day. So how can you best navigate or take advantage of these energies that are flowing through this year? Well, as we move into May, the key is going to be moving from here to here. Letting go of the desire or the need to think through everything and move down into your heart. Feel for what is true for you. Feel for what is the best step for you. Remember, each of our paths are unique. We are not all doing this the same way. In fact, we didn't come here to do it all the same way. Your path is unique to you, and only you can walk your path, so only you can know the truth of your heart. So make a conscious decision to think more from here, feel from here. Let your heart guide you step by step. In terms of practical tips, I'm going to give you 3. The first one, yes, I'm going to use the M word. Don't click away. You need to meditate. And I don't mean spending hours a day sequestered and chanting some kind of mantra. I'm talking about very simple, set aside 10 or 15 minutes early in the day and just practice not thinking. That's essentially it. You're not going to be able to do it for very long, but it's the daily practice that makes it worthwhile. And here's why. When you're constantly thinking, constantly thinking 40, 50,000 thoughts a day, your higher self, your guides, they can't get a word in edgewise because you're just constantly assessing, analyzing, judging, criticizing, worrying, whatever it is. When you practice meditating, you start to open things up. You actually give your higher self and your guides some room to get a message to you, to get a thought into your awareness. And this is where they sneak in those gaps between your thoughts. And so a simple daily practice of meditation will help you to open up and allow your energetic system to get used to receiving messages beyond your conscious thought. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, and this again comes back to the heart, be honest with yourself. Define who you really want to be. You know it's in there. And if you haven't given it conscious thought before, now's the time. Get out a pen. It's easier if you write things down, but just be honest with yourself and decide, this is the person I choose to be. I want to have these aptitudes, these skills. This is the kind of behavior I want to be my baseline. Decide who you want to be, because that version of you already exists. You've been working on that non-physical version of you your entire life. And so energetically, that person exists. But here you are on this human journey, you have to decide, yes, that's who I want to be. So in a sense, you've already made the choice. And now you're just experiencing what it's like to allow that choice to manifest for you. So just take a few moments and just be honest. Who do I really want to be? And then choose to be that person. That's the journey. And finally, I'm going to give you permission to daydream. My guides have been nudging me about this because I don't do it nearly enough. But daydreaming is one of the most powerful ways that you can bring a non-physical reality into your physical experience. That's why we have an imagination. Most of the time, our imagination is either underutilized or misused. We use it to conjure up all the ways that something can go wrong or how things cannot work out. But the true purpose of our imagination is to allow us to conceive of something, allow that to manifest non-physically, and then we draw that reality to us so that we can experience the fullness of it with all of our physical senses here in the third dimensional world. So daydream. I'm not saying spend all day daydreaming. I know you have things to do, you have responsibilities, but set aside a few minutes here and there daily to daydream about things that you would like to do, new reality you would like to experience. Use your imagination to start creating and feeling comfortable with those new realities that already exist that you're heading toward on a daily basis. Let's face it, 2023 was, what's the best word? 2023 was messy. In the last 4 years, I know have been challenging, but all of that we've experienced in the last 4 years have prepared us for this time of faster moving energies, of this wave of expansion and limitless possibilities, and the notion that this is really time for you to consciously evolve your relationship with spirit, starting with your relationship with your higher self. This is how we're going to move into the new reality, is by working with the non-physical world, because all the answers are there. All the steps we need are there. They're not predetermined. We're here with free will, but you have to be willing to walk that path and trust the non-physical world to give you the guidance step by step so you can have a joyous experience getting there. And that's really the crux of this, because this is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be fun and interesting. So don't take it too seriously. You're not going to screw this up. We're headed in the right direction. We just have to treat each morning as a new starting point on our journey and just feel our way into the new step, into the unknown. How many times have you been to a movie that you knew the story was going to turn out okay? That, yeah, pretty much this is going to have a happy ending. That's the kind of journey that you're on. We're headed in the right direction. We know the outcome is positive. So just like in the movies, you'll sit through it so that you can experience how the story unfolds, the twists, the turns, the details, the ups and downs. That's why we enjoy the journey. You can do this. You have everything that you need. You came here for this reason. You came here to experience the ups and downs, the twists and turns, and actually making decisions and choices day by day. to make up the path as you go along, knowing all the while that you're going to arrive at your destination, but how you get there, that's the fun of it. You can do this. You have everything that you need. I hope some of these thoughts have been helpful for you, maybe inspiring, comforting. I would love to get your thoughts, hear about your own experiences, leave a comment below. And until next time, I send you my love and light from Lemuria. Aloha.